Hey everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here. Welcome back to Painted Studio. As you might notice, I'm in a different position today. I'm in a different place in this studio because we're going to start a new piece. And this piece does not sit on my infamous turntable, so I had to move it into a different area. As you can see, my workspace a little smaller than it has been in the past, but that's not a problem for us. We got lots of room to work. All right, I am going to set my camera up. I got to put my iPad up so that if you all are seeing me and have any questions, I can see you. And we're going to just kind of dig in and get working. Now, I had this table. This was gifted to me by somebody who didn't need it anymore. And as you can see, it's a lovely kind of Queen Anne style console table. Now, I happen to know that this was made by the Bombay Company, so I know this is not a fine antique. And as I take the drawers out and pull it apart and unscrew everything, you can see the things that tell you that it's not a fine antique. First of all, we have no dovetailing here on the drawers. Everything's particle board, and of course it says Bombay Company on the label on the bottom. So there are some things that this will mean I'm limited on, meaning I have to be careful. There's a lot of press board in here, so I can't sand through the press board because then I need to seal it up with a shellac sealer to prevent it from blooming. I don't want to strip it down completely because, again, I'm dealing with particle board over here. So I will be sanding, cleaning, priming, and going over the original finish. I'm not even going to break through this because I don't want to have to deal with bleeds. I will, however, need to grab a screwdriver because I thought I pulled both of these drawers apart, but I didn't. So I will deal with that in a minute. As you can see, I took the handles off of this drawer, and we're going to have to clean everything because it's been a used table. As a matter of fact, I know where it was. I know how it was used. There's a little candle wax in here that I have to take off. There's clearly dust and dirt buildup. It's been well taken care of, but you know, it's been used. So the first thing that I like to do, hey Jennifer, thanks for popping in. I'm not usually on this early, but it's, I'm beginning to shift my schedule around to see when more of you are able to be here. So I'm trying a little earlier hour today. So the first thing I'm going to do is clean this. Now, there's cracks in the veneer. I can feel that already. This has been, like I said, it's not an expensive piece and it's been well used. So the first thing I'm going to do to get off any of the greasy residue, because even though I know where it's been for a while, I don't know how they cleaned it. So I don't know if they used Pledge or Endust or anything like that on here. And because I know there is candle wax right here, because I can scrape it up with my fingernails. Somebody spilled some candle wax right there. I have to remove that waxy residue as well. And the best way to remove waxy, greasy residue is mineral spirits. Now this brand happens to be Gamstal. This is one that I bought in an art supply store, but you can get mineral spirits at the hardware store. So you don't have to necessarily use this brand. So I spread a little, spill a little bit, spread a little bit, whatever you want to call it, on the surface, and then I take a green scrubby Scotch-Brite pad. Why? Because between the mineral spirits and the Scotch-Brite pad, it will cut through any nastiness on the surface, and it will also give it a light scuffing so I don't have to sand. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to hit my fun spot with all the candle wax. And I know I have to pay close attention, so this area may require more than one cleaning. Because I really, really, really got to get that candle wax off of there, or it will not, none of my paints will stay bonded. So you might hear a little squeaking. That's the sound of the scrubber going through the mineral spirits and hitting this surface. And again, because I'm painting this, I don't have to worry about a lot of stuff that I would worry about more if I was going to just be removing the finish and restaining. All right, so I'm going to take a piece of paper towel and I'm going to wipe this down and see what comes off. And yeah, you can see stuff comes off. It's not clean. And then I got to come back here and get that area that had the wax. I mean, you can tell stuff comes out. Things will look really, really clean when you get them, and then you start cleaning them and you'll find out, not quite as clean as you thought. So let's get down in here. Now you can put a little mineral spirits in a spritz bottle. There's very few times that I actually will do that though. I don't want to aerosolize mineral spirits. So usually what I want to do is come in here with a paper towel, wipe it down, and then I'll scrub it on a horizontal surface. Of course, you can also always lay it flat on its back, but we all know with the glory of my back, I don't do that. I try to move the piece of furniture, keep from flipping it as often as possible. Now your legs and the back are likely not going to be as problematic as where the drawers are and all that sort of thing. Why? Because those are not the areas that get touched an awful lot. But you still want to clean them down. You still want to give it a little scrub because that breaks the gloss on the surface. You also want to, if they were somebody who was like lived for pledge or end dust on these things, you definitely want to come in and check all of that and wipe all that stuff up. There's a reason I never use pledge or end dust. First of all, end dust is silicone based. That's why it rejects dust. So you're putting silicone coating on your furniture. That, if you ever have the need to refinish, that makes it very messy. Pledge is wax, which is fine if it's something you're never going to refinish. But even if you wanted to restain it, if you've got years and years of pledge buildup, you still have to remove all that waxy buildup. I have a nice coating of mineral spirits on this paper towel, so it's making it really easy for me to do this. And if you don't want your hands in mineral spirits, wear gloves. This doesn't bother me. The Gamsol is nearly odorless, so I really do very well with this. Of course, I always have my piece of furniture. If I can't get it on the table, I like to put it on wheels, as you can see here. Now my drop cloth is catching in my little scooting chair. And I do scoot on my chair all the time. So you're going to get the toad view of me. I'm sorry. You're going to get my big butt and the wide view. I apologize for that. But I got to get at this back leg. So you're about to get my back. I'm sorry. Oh, all the camera training stuff that I've learned over the years are horrified when I have to turn my back to the camera. But I don't have a crew here to move everything for me, so we'll all just have to live with it. Okay. And then I'm going to get the one drawer, and I'll do the other one in a minute after I take the hardware off. But again, I can tell that there's been a lot of handling on this. You can see fingerprints and stuff. I'm coming through here, making sure I've wiped it all down. I know this is the least glamorous part of doing the job, but it is one of the most important parts, because if you don't do this, folks, you're never going to get a good result. Okay, so I have wiped and cleaned and dusted and scraped everything, and this is really, unless it's truly heinously dirty. This house was no smoking, it was no pets. I have very little, you know, my cleaning is minimal. The big part was getting the candle wax that was right here, and the Gamsol and the scrubbing dissolve that wax. That's why if you have a waxed finish on anything, they will tell you you must use mineral spirits to clean it off, because the mineral spirits will cut through the wax and the oiliness and give you a good result. Then, because there is the residue now from the mineral spirits, you need to come back with denatured or 99% alcohol and wipe that oily residue off. Now, for some pieces of furniture, I will tell you right now, all of a sudden you're going to see a white haze on your furniture, because you have a waterborne top coat, water-based top coat on there, and the alcohol will react with it. Quite frankly, Bombay Company stuff is usually made in Asia. This piece has got to be a good 20, 30 years old. So I have no idea what they use for a top coat. And so I know I just need to clean it off. All right, let's come back over here. And you still may get some pickup of color and stuff from the stuff that was left in the residue of the mineral spirits as you're cleaning. Happens all the time. That's not unusual. And then once this is dried and you can touch it, wash your hands, because your hands could be oily from the mineral spirits. When you're washed your hands and come back in here and wipe it all down, touch it and see if there's any oily residue on it, because that just means you need to wipe it down again with alcohol and paper towels. It's not unusual. You can miss spots. You just don't want to leave any of the residue on for your next layer. And see, like when I put my hands here, because I've had the Gamsol on it, the mineral spirits, yeah, I get a little oily residue on my hand. So I can see right here where my hand was sitting, and I have to wipe it off. By the way, somebody always asks, so my little wheelie chair and my wheels under my furniture, I get them at Harbor Freight. You can pick them up in person or order online, depending on where you are. I have a Harbor Freight near me, so I don't even have to order, although I do, because COVID has made me, and all the lockdowns have made me kind of lazy. I just like to go and have things delivered to my door. But sometimes, like the wheelie chair, for some reason, they would not ship it when I needed a new one, because I have broken these. You can see I don't just sit on them, I scoot around on them. So that means I'm putting a lot of weight and pressure with my generous derriere on the top, and I've broken the top just because you're not supposed to kind of do what I do with them. And so I had to go and pick them up instead of just having it shipped to me. And that's dangerous because, I could Harbor Freight has a lot of really cool stuff that I could spend a lot of money on. All right, I got to get them back on the wheels because I shifted everything when I moved it, and now the drop cloth's not in place. Ugh. Unfortunately, I don't have a floor in this new workspace where I can just mess it up like I did in the old place. The landlords here would not be pleased to find me trashing the floors. Okay, got that fixed. Let's wiggle on over here. Move that out of the way. Let's get that one back up on its wheels. So everything on its wheels just about. There we go. A little more paper towel. A little more wipe down. And this actually has some sort, the top coat that's on here actually does react a little bit to the alcohol. So it might be a waterborne pre-cat lacquer on here. Those have been around forever. Now I'm just checking to make sure all that wax that I knew was right there. There used to be a piece of glass on the top of this. So I know this part didn't get the wax, but this part absolutely got hit with wax. So let's wipe this off too. Oh yeah. That cleaned off nicely. So we are now going to let that dry for a second. I'm going to grab a screwdriver, which is right under where my camera is, and we're going to take off the hardware on that other one so I can do the cleaning on that. And then we're going to discuss the primer. Let me scoot over here. Hi Diane and Ricky, Tony, Elizabeth, thank you all for coming in. I appreciate you being here. Let me come under here into my little toolbox. And we'll take the hardware off this guy. Now, I have no idea if I'm going to use the same hardware or not. So I have a little container of plastic wood behind me. Once I've cleaned these drawers, I'm going to fill the holes because I have no idea, like I said, whether I'm going to use the same hardware, paint it, buy new ones, go totally off the map and just go with, instead of a wide pull that has 2 screws, I'm going to use a pull that has a single screw. I don't know yet, so that'll be the next thing. I think I clean this drawer first and then I'll fill with the wood putty. I know I said we were going to do primers, but if I'm going to do the drawers, I'm going to do them right from the beginning and show you what I do. Okay, yippee. Oh, the joys of unscrewing things. And it's always the last screw that doesn't want to come apart. Now, I'm one of those people, I don't know about anybody else, but if I get a screwdriver, sometimes you buy something from IKEA, sometimes, like this one came from Ring. I keep all these screwdrivers because a short screwdriver like this is my favorite thing to be able to get into a drawer to remove hardware. I don't want to go out and buy one if I'm getting them for free. I never throw these out. Part of the reason I don't throw them out is because, you know, for something like a Ring camera, you absolutely... Okay, where did I put my green scrubber? Oh, I put it somewhere. I am a genius for putting things down and never finding. There it is. Okay, I've got mineral spirits on that paper towel that I was wiping with. I've got my green scrubber. I'm just going to break that gloss on there. There we go. Come back in with the mineral spirits, make sure there was nothing there that needed to be wiped up. I'm a genius for losing the things I actually need. I know you all have done that too, but if I have a Ring camera installed somewhere, then they give you the Ring screwdriver to go with it when you're installing it, so that you have exactly the right size screwdriver to use for the tool. And I want to make sure I keep those things, because otherwise I uninstall, I don't have the right tools, I make a mess of stuff. Yeah, that's me. All right, so I'm gonna put all of these paper towels back over here on the floor to air out, and then I can dispose of them so I don't have to worry about any safety issues. Let's see, where did I put my, I'll set this over here. All right, so back over here, I have a little container of wood putty. So I'm gonna get a little tiny spatula, be right back. Take up my Gamsol off the floor too, so I don't spill mineral spirits somewhere, because yeah, that would be me too. You all have seen me kick stuff around. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna take these drawers. Let's see if this thing will open it, or if I'll need something else, because this is kind of flexible, so it may not want to open the wood putty. Oh, there we go. And I only keep little jars of wood putty like this because this stuff, once it's exposed to air, hardens. I don't use Bondo, I don't use other stuff. I want something, real wood putty, because it dries really, really hard. And I just take a little bit of it and kind of squish it into the hole. Come back with my finger, wipe it off. That is not a perfect fill. This will shrink up a little. So my drawers are usually the last thing I prime, because if I'm filling the holes, I may need to do it a second time. And I'll have to sand this a little bit. And this is solvent based, so it is a little stinky. This is DAP's Plastic Wood. This has been my go-to for years. Sometimes you can find it in tubes, which I actually like better because it dries out less quickly. And because this is solvent based, it does dry quickly. Okay, and then I go into the inside. This lid is already wanting to form a little crust. It fills fast. It dries fast. Those chemical solvents in there, they want to go away fast. They want to dry fast. So, but I don't like to waste stuff either, so. The lid's already getting hard, so I'm going to have to dip into the can a little bit. And when it dries, it starts to get crumbly. So we're going to let that cure up. And I take my thing and just scrape it off my finger. Again, if you don't want your hands in this kind of thing, use a glove, wear a glove. Now the other thing to help this stuff last longer, which I will do in just a second, is after you've opened it the first time, seal it up with plastic wrap of some sort. Now I will be painting the inside of the drawers. Usually for me, I paint the insides of the drawers black. White never looks good. It always ends up looking streaky inside drawers. And most of the pieces I do benefit from dark colored drawers. It hides a lot of dirt. All right. Let's get all 4 of these filled. And here's the reason I like to use plastic wood, or a wood putty to do this. If I'm going to use the same size openings, you know, the same size drawer pull, then I've created a good, strong place for the screws to go through. They won't strip, they won't get loose. But if I'm not, then I have created a solid surface to paint over that I happen to like better than other things. I know other people like Bondago. It's just not my style. I want something that's more like wood. And the front panels of these drawers, they are actually wood. They are not fake stuff. That's the only part of the drawer that might be actual wood. Actually, the sides are real wood too. But you see how fast it dried up. I wiped it off my little spatula, and yeah, it just curled right on off. It's curling right off my fingers. Okay, let's get a little piece of press and seal here. Seal up that can so it doesn't go hard on me too fast. Alrighty. And take it in and push it down to the surface. Don't just put it over it, put it down to the surface, because you've already introduced air in here. So pushing it to the surface prevents more air exposure. Close it up. I'll be rebonding the rest of the, I'll be refilling the drawer holes once it's completely dry, so that I know the holes haven't shrunk and I don't need to do more. They will probably shrink back, so I'll probably have to sand a little, refill it, sand it again. Now let's talk primer. So let me grab what I need here. I am going to be using Whitson's Superior Adhesion Primer. Now, this stuff bonds to damn near anything. Can't tell you how impressed I am. This is one of our top sellers, especially for cabinetry. It works over all kinds of surfaces, including tile and glass. You've seen me use it on that. And I keep a little jar right here that I've tinted gray. And so I'm almost out of my gray. I'm going to pour a little out of this can, put it into here. I just need to grab a mixing stick and the pigment. So here's our mixing stick, and where are my pigments? Over here. Okay. You can use faux cream color, faux color, universal tints, powdered pigments, whatever you need with this. It will take all kinds of pigments. It's a waterborne soy alkyd that is just stunning to work with. So let me pop this open. I know this is not my most flattering angle. I can see myself on camera and I'm like, ooh, you look like a little toad sitting there. Unfortunately, that's the angle we get. So I'm giving this a stir, because you always want to stir your product. Now, I'm probably going to make a mess of this. Surprised I did not. Ooh, I'm impressed with me today. Might be the first time I say that. Okay, let me put that can up there, grab another piece of paper towel so I can wipe my lid. If you don't wipe the lid, it never closes properly again. I know people have, I've tried the tape trick, I've tried those can pour things. None of those ever work. What really works is just cleaning out the lid after I've poured. Okay, goes with that with my other papers. Let's put the lid back on this. Whoa. Because I'm graceful too. So I'm going to mix this, and we're going to just prime the top of this right now on the live. I don't think it's that exciting to watch me prime the entire thing, but I do want to show you how easy this is to tint. Okay, I'm just going to take some black faux color. Again, if you need Faux Effects products, I carry them, so I can get you faux color, faux cream color, transoxide colors, all of those sort of things. But I just put a little bit of black in there. And I'm never going to get a super, 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 super dark color because this is a white pigmented primer. But I often use gray primers under dark colors because then I'm not fighting white. It makes my life easier to be able to tint my primer. It also works better under reds. It works better under dark blues. Any dark color works better with a deeper tone primer. And I'm probably putting, this is 8 ounces. So I probably put about 1.5 teaspoons of colorant in here. You never want to put in more than 10%, otherwise your colorant floats, meaning you've over-pigmented, you've oversaturated, you're changing the integrity of the product. So let me just put, I think I'm actually very close. That's about 1/4 teaspoon in there. I just wanted to get it as close to the other color I had in here as before, and I can tell from the edge that I've gotten there. Okay. Again, just mixing it well so I don't have any streaks in it, although, quite frankly, as a primer, if it's a little streaky, it's not going to freak me out. All right, let's take that. Let's move that over into the trash pile, and all I need is a brush. I'm still getting used to the new space here and how it works for moving things over here, so be patient with me. I appreciate it. Jennifer Paint Story of My Life. What primer am I using, Jennifer? We are using Whitson's Superior Adhesion Primer. I am the American distributor for this product, so you can buy it through me. You can also get it from Renee Holder, who runs Two Chatty Chicks. We are slowly but surely building our U.S. distributors, our U.S. retailers. I brought this product in, quite frankly, after Faux Effects stopped being able to make Primetch. Primetch was my go-to primer for every hard-to-bond surface. Well, the materials for that are no longer available, so I went on a hunt. The only thing I can tell you that's different with this is it's a waterborne alkyd and it's white-based, as opposed to clear, which was what Primetch was. But I have to tell you, I am beyond impressed with this product. I have been using it for a year or so now. I have tested it on every conceivable surface I could get my hands on. I got a little chip of something on there while I was leaning against it. This stuff sticks, and it sticks hard. It's interior exterior rated, and after you apply it, you let it dry anywhere from 1 to 3 hours for recoat. And what happens when you recoat it, the moisture from your next layer sort of re-softens the very top layer of the primer, and it forms a chemical bond, so it becomes one piece. It's very cool how this works. It's not just a layer that you're applying on here so that you can put something pretty on top of it. It is a super bonding primer. I mean, the things that I've done it on tile, I've done it on glass, I've done it on wood, I've done it on plastics. There are some plastics that do not like this product, but they're designed to have almost a greasy feel to them, like squeeze bottles. They're too flexible, they don't want to work that way, but very few things have I been able to put this on and have it not stick. Our customers who buy it here call it bulletproof. It is a fantastic primer. Now, as you can see, I'm not applying this with a regular paintbrush. I don't apply any of my paints on furniture with regular paintbrushes, and there's a reason why. I use big artist brushes. We carry some, but if you're not buying them from us, I would suggest you go look at Dick Blick online, because these bristles are smaller, slimmer, more tightly compacted, and it minimizes my bristle marks and things. I get a much, much better result using one of these Taklon brushes and applying with like this than I do if I was using, and I've tried everybody's specialty furniture paintbrush. I'm telling you, I don't buy them. These are what I use. They're cheaper. They run between $12 and $15 as opposed to some of these that they're going to sell you that are 30 bucks. They have a longer handle, which on some of them I trim down. Okay, the other thing I want you to see what I'm doing is I'm coming back here. I had a whole wet edge here, so I'm coming back from this side and brushing into my wet edge and lifting my brush so that I don't have brush marks all over my, and I don't have this where I laid the brush down and there's an obvious start and stop spot. I come from the edge, I feather it back in, I come in on my edges, smooth everything out, and I get great coverage. And I do it on both ends, and I clean up my ends here. Now, this is putting on anything like this on any bigger surface. I get asked this question all the time. How do you know when to stop brushing? Because it's not perfectly even. Well, first of all, primer, I want it quite even, but it doesn't have to be perfectly even because I hit the entire surface with primer, I know I'm going to bond. If, when you're brushing, you start to feel the paint grab on your brush, it's not just spreading nice and smooth, you feel a little grab. See, like I just did there, I felt a little grab. I'm going to come back, I'm going to put a little fresh paint down, and I'm going to leave it the heck alone. Why? Because every time I keep brushing, I'm adding air to the surface, and then it's starting to dry, and my brush is going to grab, and you're going to have a grabby, draggy brush mark. You're not going to be happy with your results. Now, I will turn this upside down later, get all the undersides, but this is how we do priming here. And see, I can leave that like that right now because it's very feathered out. So when I want to turn it upside down to get the rest of it, I can feather the paint right back in and not have any heavy drag marks, any heavy drip marks, any heavy brush marks. So you see I dropped my paint right there, and there is this is a start mark. So when I'm coming back, I'm brushing back into that, brushing it away. And I'll do the same thing with the colors that I use and all of that. My goal is to make sure I don't have obvious start and stop places. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to come into this corner, dust there, off there, and I'm just smoothing my brush strokes. Now, I have been doing this a really, really long time. Don't worry if it's not as fast and easy for you as it is for me. I've been painting furniture for over 30 years, and that's scary for me to say, but it's true. I've been painting furniture for a very, very long time. So these are the tips and tricks that I know that work for me. If you have a way that you do it that gets you smooth and flawless, and by the way, I never try for perfect. If I'm hand painting a piece of furniture, I want it to look like I painted it by hand. I don't spray a lot of stuff. I almost never spray. And I have beautiful spray equipment, but I hated doing cabinetry so much that I almost never pull out my sprayer. Sometimes I might do it on a complex piece that I want to spray a top coat on, but that's kind of it, guys. I'm not a big sprayer. I love the feeling of running a brush over a piece of furniture. I love hand brushing stuff. Why? Because hand brushing gets me into every corner of a piece of furniture. It makes me look at the whole thing. Makes me check my brush strokes, makes me check my work, makes me check the whole piece of furniture. Sorry, I can hear something moving, and it's my hair brushing against, it's actually my shoulder brushing against clamps next to me. I was trying to figure out what it was. And I like that feeling of getting my hands all over the piece. I love knowing that I have explored all of the piece of furniture, not just sort of winged at it. And that's a personal choice. If you spray, go spray. This can be thin to spray. When we ship it to you, we send you the text sheets and the MDS sheets, so you're really aware of what the product is and how to thin it if you need to. I've thinned this with water before just because the container got a little tired and I'd been using it and left it open. It's a great product, but this is, to me, this is part of my love of painting furniture, is getting in there with my hands and doing it. All right, so I have to shift things around. Hang on a second. All righty, back over here. So I'm gonna have to get back behind here and move things around and make a heck of a mess in a minute. So I'm gonna keep you guys off screen for that. I know you don't need to do that. Hey, Lucy. Yes, Whitson's is, yes, Whitson's is great stuff. And I am the American distributor for all Whitson's products. So if there's a Whitson's products that you have checked out before and you don't see it on our website, give me a buzz. I'll bring it in for you. No problem at all. Meanwhile, I'm gonna finish up the back of this. I'm gonna let it set up and dry. I'm gonna have to turn it upside down. I'm gonna have to do a whole bunch. Now, normally when I do a piece of furniture, I turn it upside down first so that I don't have to worry about the top if I need to. I'm gonna need to like fix any scratches or anything, because when you turn things upside down, inevitably a flat spot scratches. But today we were demoing, and I have lots of plans for what we're going to do here. So I may be back working on this with you tomorrow. It's New Year's week, that weird week between Christmas and New Year's. My goal is to get this all primed and ready so that we have a new project to be working on in the new year. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for spending some time with me. Have a good one. Don't forget, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I will come in and answer them, and I will talk to you later. Thanks.